The other voice actor, you just heard a snippet of him.
I did. I can see why you picked that guy. And I'm so sorry for your loss, because he nailed it.
You know what? You just need a few more years of practice.
I just need a few more years of age for my voice to deepen, to sound like the Giga Chad that I was always meant to be.
How many more years?
I don't know. My birthday is sometime this year.
Maybe 5 years from now. The sequel.
Maybe 5 years from now, in the sequel, I will finally have achieved the voice of that guy. And I can finally be at that level. The voice you deserve.
What do you think differs from the voice that you heard?
His definitely sounds way more mature. If you put stubble on Tanner, that would be him. If you give him about 5 years of age, that would be him. I sound like freshman Tanner. That guy sounds like senior Tanner. But he's good.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I am senior in high school. He is senior in college.
You play high school Tanner. He's just college Tanner.
I'm high school Tanner. He's college Tanner in the sequel.
Artist choice was actually all during high school.
Ignore the bar scene.
You guys had fake IDs.
Fake ID. Papa Giorgio.
You just reminded me how the bar scene. We're like, what about Layla? They're like, ignore it. She just gets.
Yeah.
They're just like, wait, but what about like shh, shh. No questions asked. They literally just let Layla go through. They're like, don't you need to see IDs? And they're like, I guess not with Layla.
Real recognizes real. She gets a pass.
She literally gets a pass at everything in this game, honestly.
She does. It goes to show, if you're generally kind to people, you can get a pass for a lot of stuff.
Do you think it was kindness or confidence that got her to pass?
Yes.
You're just like, yes. No, it was just the voice. It was the voice all along.
It was the voice. The right voice will get you anywhere. Look at Jeff Shaw, a comedian where his entire act is based around the fact that he sounds like a woman, and he owns it. Jeff Shaw was great. I got to catch a couple of his shows. He was pretty good.
Oh my goodness. There's this one comedian I think called Preacher Lawrence. I think his name is. He's like, I'm not a preacher, but
I'm not gonna put him on the list now.
He was an not American Idol. He was, I think maybe, I don't know. He was really funny. I got to see him for free from my school one year, and it was very funny. I would recommend it, at least watching him once. I also got to see this comedian, and he recognized me one time because from my school. I'm sorry, just remembering this kind of loses me back into the game. I had to record the show, and he's like, "What are you doing, Ninja Turtle?" Because I had to wear a green bandana. If you don't know this, I had talked to them the other day. And I told him Michelangelo was actually based off of the turtle, not the artist.
I figured. Oh, that's beautiful.
How did you figure it out that Michelangelo was based off of the turtle?
It was just, the artist feels too on the nose. It's gotta be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Because
it's gotta be.
Because a lot of the characters were based off of the Love and Deep Space, and Raphael was the artist. But like,
yeah,
Dan was like, yeah, I really liked Michelangelo. Was so into art, and I was just like, you know what else he's into? And I should have said pizza. to give him the indicator of the turtle. But like he's like, oh, is that why he has all the orange? I was like, yeah. Do you also see the green and stuff? But it was just like, it was so funny just thinking about that because I never told him the story about the time the dude just called me a Ninja Turtle because I had the.
Damn, let me let you know a little secret. Cowabunga, dude.
Michelangelo just says, my next piece, cowabunga.
My next piece, cowabunga. Such exquisite strokes.
Yeah.
Oh, this masterpiece.
Like if he's like if there's ever like a fandom for this game, he's like, I wish that is one of the wiki facts is not based off of the artist but the turtle. What is your what is your Tanner head canon that has not been canonized?
Okay, if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to pick the one that he's a cultural Christian. That is to say, he was probably raised in a Christian household, right? But hasn't completely bought into the faith, where he's raised a certain way and retains certain mannerisms like avoiding swear words or generally be kind because that was just what his parents told him to do. So he'll follow certain Christian values and guidelines without realizing that they're Christian, or he will pray before a meal as a perfunctory thing without giving it much weight. Or that old saying of go to the bar on Sunday, or just go to the bar on Saturday, go to church on Sunday. Cultural Christianity, where you're not really buying into the faith, but you're doing the perfunctory traditional things. And I could see that with him because generally he tries to be nice with people. He seems to avoid foul language. But the other side of that being that he's a little carnal in the fact that he just wants to get at that, especially in Boys Night Out, which was not part of the game. But yeah, I think in short, one headcanon that I can think of that has not been canonized is that he's a cultural Christian, but not a devout Christian.
It's funny that you say that, because he doesn't wear any of the crosses. Meanwhile, like, the ones who do is like Michelangelo and Serenity, but you're the one who has that hand cannon that he is. So, what makes you think that?
It's just the way that he conducts himself is that he generally follows all the tenets of being kind to others, generally, but still has worldly desires such as the women that kind of bleed through his personality a little bit. And I think I feel that way because that was basically me in high school. Yet another way that I relate to Tanner. Basically in high school is just perfunctory, pray before a meal, go to church on Sunday, give thanks to God. As soon as that's over, right back to being a worldly dude, buddy. Let's go find some tail. But
you say this and then like one of the outtakes is, get away from me, you harlot.
Yeah, that's me now. Get away from me, you harlot! I am a child of God.
I don't know why we even did that take, but that was a funny take that we did.
That was great. You just sent me stuff and said, record these, please. Like, alrighty, let's record them. I think it might be me projecting a little bit onto Tanner. Kind of like the player's meant to project onto Arya a little bit. But this is what I choose to believe.
Do you think
you asked and I answered.
Do you think Ty would be the same then?
Given that they were both raised in the same household, I presume, I would say, yeah, it could be very much the same for Ty as it is for Tanner.
If Arya managed to romance Tanner, how do you think she would have done it since Tanner was so in love with Layla?
There are quite a few ways that you could have done that. I think one of them is that if you were on the Tanner route, kind of like some other routes like Silver's route, is that you don't really know that you're picking the Silver route until you've tapped on Silver's shoulder and suddenly you're in Silver's route. Where spending time with Tanner and kind of being his wingman or his supportive shoulder in helping him go for Layla, he will realize that he views that Layla is the prize, but that Layla doesn't give him what he needs in the pyramid of the human need. But he's finding that in Arya through their talks together of helping him figure out what he's going to do about Layla. And slowly over time, he realizes, I'm more in love with the idea of Layla, but Arya cares. My needs are getting met with this girl. I think I'm starting to feel for this girl instead. And come to realize that what he felt for Layla was kind of not really an adrenaline rush, but he was the bacon.
Bacon.
Or she was the bacon. She was the bacon, to go back to that analogy. And that he actually does have feelings for Arya because she is caring, sweet, and shows him attention, where Layla kind of is rather oblivious to his advances sometimes. I think that's one way that you could have gone about that.
Do you think Tanner being in love with Layla made sense, or do you not see it? Because you say you relate to the character, but like, do you actually see that making sense? Because you like the character Layla, but do you think that the character Ty would like Layla?
The character Tanner would like Layla?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I keep confusing the twins.
Just want to make sure that I'm answering the right question here. But yeah, I think it does make sense, because when it comes, I know we're in college, but I'm thinking in terms of high school, because the transition from high school to college can be a little gradual sometimes. When it comes to high school, you need the physical attraction and the initial spark. Then suddenly you call yourself in love. And Tanner, having a similar aesthetic to Layla, would already have the physical attraction. Then you combine that with the initial spark of what happened at the concert, then physical attraction again when they reunite in college, that you have the elements of high school sweetheart or early college sweetheart that makes sense in this context. Whether or not it will last is up to the future to decide, but in the context of this story at the time that it takes place with this age range of characters, yes, I think it absolutely makes sense that Tanner would be attracted to Layla.
Okay, what do you mean by aesthetics, that they have similar aesthetics?
I guess I'm saying more, they have, I'm trying to find the right adjective for this. Not necessarily punk rock, but darker tones, clothing that you would find at a rock concert, like 2J's and the Beats.
I just realized what you said.
Yeah. Then the overall, I'm trying to find the right words for this. Their mannerisms and interests align, as in, I'm sure they both like anime. I'm sure they both like rock and roll. They share commonalities in interests that would help drive that initial attraction and fuel that spark. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since Serenity had a chance to date Tanner, do you think they made sense as a couple?
I think out of anyone else, besides Layla, anyone else in the female cast, Serenity would make the most sense. Because we don't see a lot of interaction between Tanner and Arya besides the dance at Damien's. That's kind of the only direct interaction I can think of, is basically Tanner said, "Wow, you suck at dancing." That scene was more Arya is trying to wait for Damien to show up. So like, the main interaction is, I'm sad that my brother is getting all the attention with Layla. May I have this dance? You are my second choice, like I am for Tanner. And basically, like, wow, you're really bad at this. I think we already established that, yes. Anyway, I feel a little better at least. Thank you for the dance, Miss Arya. And that's kind of the only direct interaction that comes to mind at any route. At least the direct one-on-one interaction in any route. So Arya and Tanner don't get a lot of one-on-one interaction. For Serenity, we've got that a little much more than we did Arya. Then Layla, we get the most.
What do you think the dynamic between Tanner and Serenity is?
Dynamic between Tanner and Serenity. Can you give me some examples of a dynamic?
So, you know how Serenity and Silver are enemies to Lover?
Yes.
And I guess Layla and Tanner, I guess would they be like the lovebird couple? What would they be once they get together?
Layla and Tanner is kind of like, I see you as a brother, and now I see you as a lover.
Okay, that's
Like a
kind of
transition
crazy.
from a little weird the way I put that, but
Yeah.
largely it did feel like Layla saw Tanner and Ty as kind of like siblings, just one of the guys,
Mhm.
and it became something more once Tanner confessed.
Mhm.
But dynamic, I need to look up some ideas of dynamics because I can't find a label to put onto this that makes sense.
Mm.
I'm not tsundere, not a yandere relationship, not a dere relationship. I can't think of a dere that would fit this. Do you have an answer for that?
Because Serenity calls Tanner out. It's like, oh, look at you calling Layla your mommy. Do you want to call me mommy instead? Like, he's very playful towards him.
Like the older sister that'll noogie him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
I guess older sister, younger brother, but like a watered down version. Not as close as siblings, but Serenity kind of looks at Tanner with kind of a, oh, you immature young man kind of.
like mature woman, immature man type.
Kinda. It's like, you are very boyish, and you are not acting like a man. You are not acting like a gentleman, sir. You are immature in your ways, and I know better.
Oh my goodness, bruh.